Hello, hello everyone. Happy Motivational Monday. My name is Kira. I am your host, and you'll get a formal introduction to Tatiana, our co-host, in just a moment. It is the beginning of a brand new month, and with the beginning of a brand new month, that means that we are in the midst of a brand new topic. So last month we talked all about men's well-being, and we got really deep, and it was actually so sweet. We did the deep dive at the end of the month, and we had someone leave a comment on our survey that said, I haven't trusted myself for dating men for many, many years. And I feel like I might be in a place now after learning all the things that I've learned to maybe start trusting men again. And I felt like it was such a good, beautiful revelation for someone to have because I feel like when men are real and raw and honest about their humanness and the things that they experience and explore and navigate, then we can see them differently. So, another update that we have, kind of in tandem with the deep dive story that I just shared, is that our deep dives are now on a hiatus. So for Q3, we are putting deep dive and deep dive mentorship on a hiatus. Really, it just feels like something else is kind of coming. We understand the significance of a 60-minute conversation and how important that is and how deep we're able to get into it. So rest assured, something new is coming. I don't know what it is, but it will come. And there's something in my spirit, in my soul, that's been saying maybe for this entire quarter, hey, let's maybe look at re-envisioning this. So now there's time and space to re-envision that. And now, of course, with the conversation of spirits and souls and everything along those lines, we are stepping into our spiritual growth month for the entire month of July. All this month, all we have is Motivational Monday. So every Monday, you can come, you can learn, we can start diving into spiritual growth together. And the cool thing with that is that spiritual growth is one of the top topics that people reach out to our guides for. So a lot of people are on this journey of spiritual growth and are looking at how can I change? How can I evolve? So it's really interesting. About 74% of Americans have a desire to grow spiritually. And if you are one of those people, drop 111 in the chat because I'm very curious to see. And then maybe if you've been on that journey for quite some time, you can drop 222. Or if you're kind of brand new and just exploring, you can drop 333. So if you're one of the people who just has a broad desire to grow spiritually, 111. If you've been on your journey for a while, 222. And if you're kind of brand new and just seeing what it's about, 333. So I want to give you guys a definition of what spirituality is, um, so that we can kind of have a baseline and an understanding of where we're at, where we want to grow, things along those lines. So spirituality is a broad human experience concerning the search for meaning, purpose, and connection to something larger than oneself. So that's kind of what the spiritual journey looks like for a lot of us. And let's see. We've got quite a few people who have been on their journey for quite some time. That's amazing. And quite a few people who have that desire to have that spiritual growth. Congratulations. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for you all. So, there are some really cool questions that typically show up in regards to spirituality, and it's usually about life and identity. Am I a good person? What is the meaning of my suffering? What is my connection to the world around me? Do things happen for a reason? And how can I live my life in the best way possible? So, those might be some of the larger questions that you're looking to answer, or maybe some of those are going to give you pinpoints on where to start moving forward in your journey. And there is one thing I wanted to talk about. There is a relationship between religion and spirituality. Spirituality is typically a larger, broader concept that comes from inside yourself and inside yourself only. So religion and spirituality aren't the same thing, though sometimes they do intersect. So in spirituality, it's a lot of where do I find meaning? How do I feel connected? And how should I live? And religion is a lot of what practices, rites, and rituals should I follow? What is right and wrong? And what is true and false? And the places where they intersect are in belief, comfort, reflection, ethics, and awe. So that helps us dive a little bit into the distinction between the two. And you can be religious and be on a spiritual journey as well. So, with all of that being said, I know that's a lot of information, but it's our first session of spiritual growth, and I felt like that was all very important. We have the wonderful, the amazing Tatiana here. She has done many an event with me, so maybe you've come to know and love and adore her in the same way that I have. But she is one of our guides who is very well seasoned and trained in regards to spiritual growth and the work that she does a lot of the times inside of life guides and particularly outside of life guides is focused on spiritual growth. And her superpower is that she guides individuals through life's most challenging transitions, helping them move from overwhelm and uncertainty towards resilience, clarity, and renewed self-trust. Through mindfulness, somatic practices, and movement, sound, and wellness education, she creates a grounded space for healing, growth, and personal transformation. So, hi, Tatiana. We are so excited to have you here. Thank you for joining us today. Can you tell us a little bit about your personal spiritual journey and how you've grown through it over time?
Yes, hello, and just say hello to everyone. Thank you for having me again here. So I'm super excited to talk about spirituality. So a little bit about my experience with it has been quite a journey. I think the first time I ever heard the word spirituality, it was back in 2005 or something, and then it was when I was going to university and I had a class about energy and spirit and something like that. And I was like, wow, I never hear that in college, you know? So it was really unique for me. I dropped off university. I didn't want any of that. And then later on, like around 2011, 2010, it was when something started like knocking on my door. There was something more than just this plain life that I was living, earthly life, which is beautiful, but there was something else. How it came to me? Through pain. Pain was to me the way the spirit, my spirit was telling me there's something else. And I started like removing layers of conditioning and I start asking questions. There's something else for me to know. There's something that inside of me wants to know. And it's that like we are all in this web spider of the spirits. We're all connected. So I start like feeling chronic pain, and it was because I was not listening to my inner voice. I was just listening to all the programming that came from school, from childhood, from all of those early years of being a teenager and childhood. And I just started like hearing voices, like connecting with my psychic abilities, and it was weird, it was scary, so that's how I started. Like I started like trusting that there was something else that it was calling me.
Thank you so much for sharing. And I feel like probably a lot of people can relate to that comment as well of maybe a painful part of your journey, whether it's physical pain, chronic pain, or a breakup, or kind of like life shifting around you, or something along those lines, can be a moment that helps us see that there's a time for transformation and that there's a time for change. And I'm curious for those of you who are here listening. Drop 444 in the chat if it was maybe a very pivotal, big point in your life that made you start to seek out spirituality, a deeper sense of connectedness, deeper sense of being, a deeper sense of belonging, because I feel like a lot of us go through similar things in those ways. And it's very interesting being on that journey. I love that you connected to your more of your psychic side because there does, at least for me, in the way that I experience and explore it, there is some sort of voice, maybe like my higher self, maybe just my intuition, maybe my ancestors and guides, but there is some kind of voice that pulls me forward, that says, Kira, do this and explore this. So I'm curious,
Yeah.
Anna, when we're having this conversation about, yeah, your psychic gifts, this voice that maybe starts to live inside of us that we finally listen to, where does that inner wisdom come from?
So for me, it comes in different ways, and I think for people, usually for a lot of people, comes in different ways. For me, it's been first, it was my inner voice. It was even when I was little that I blocked that. When I was little, I had this imaginary friend, and then I blocked it, and then I remember like later on. But that imaginary friend, it was my inner voice. Then through the years, I start having not just hearing my ancestors and spiritual guides, but see them like in person, like through dream, but also in my day-to-day life. And it was scary at the beginning, it was scary just to listen my voice and be talking with this imaginary friend that I called it when I was a child, and just say little things like when I had to do something, tell me, don't do that, don't go that way, or things like that. And then later on, when I open up more, I open up to that voice, and then is when I start more connecting with my ancestors and with the spiritual guides. Ancestor comings through dream space, like literally telling me. I had my grandmother years ago coming in a dream space where she was I never met my grandfather. So she came and introduced me with my grandfather and tell me some secret of the family too. And then I talked with my father and he was like, yes. So things like that, that I was like saying, yeah, I'm not crazy. And sometimes we deny those gifts, we deny those experiences because most of us were not introduced to those kind of experiences and to the truth when we were child. So we have to discover that when we grow up.
It reminds me, my grandparents came over directly from Italy. So my mom learned Italian as her first language. And when she went to school when she was 5, she was ridiculed for speaking Italian and having broken English. And from that moment on, she completely forgot how to speak Italian. And that's kind of what happens to us in our childhood sometimes is I mean, I know many children who talk about seeing spirits or talk about their past lives. I had a friend who, when maybe starting at 1 years old, she would talk about Africa and the giraffes and the elephants. But then we turn that off in our childhood because maybe our parents don't believe it to be true, or maybe it shocks people around us. So my mom, when we went to Italy, I think maybe in like her mid 50s, the Italian immediately came back. And maybe that's how it is for some of us as well in listening to this voice is it's something that's always been there and maybe it's something that's been repressed
Mhm.
and that we haven't had the permission, the acceptance to be able to tune into. So hopefully this month gets to serve as your permission slip for hey, if you do have these deeper levels of connection inside of you, you're safe to express that and explore that. And that's also why we have guides here with us having these conversations because Tatiana is someone that you can schedule a call with to start helping you open up those doorways that maybe have been shut for a really long time or maybe have never even been opened. So Tatiana, obviously we've talked about that there's this voice and that maybe there's like this internal pull,
Mhm.
but how does that actual inner wisdom show up for us to truly listen to it?
I think our inner wisdom is showing up constantly all the time. It's knocking little, and then it's knocking harder and it's knocking harder. And I think for me, it's been trust, because in the beginning, no, it's just my mind. I'm crazy. It's trusting, it's being present. Because when you start trusting and being present, it gets very uncomfortable. Because the first thing we face is the layers of programming. The boys like, no, you're crazy. No, this is not. Go to work, get busy, go hang out with friends, go do whatever, go eat. All of those distractions to disconnect us from our spirit, from that inner voice, from the inner wisdom to guide us through life. So it's like trusting, being present. And if you don't get to that, to trust and to be present, I think the universe will send you like all kind of things to, like, for me it was chronic pain. I was not listening, I was not trusting. So through chronic pain and sometimes challenges, different challenges, so we start growing that muscle of trusting and being present with the spirit world, because everything is spirit. The plants have a spirit, the animals have spirit, we are a spirit. Everything is in a form, a physical form, but also in a spirit form.
I have been in situations in my life where my spirit was telling me for a very long time, get out of that. I was in relationships where 2 weeks into the relationship, I knew it wasn't for me. And it was so interesting because I remember asking for the signs and the guidance and the wisdom of should I get out of this situation? But I knew inside of me. I didn't want to acknowledge it, but I felt it inside of me. I felt that I wasn't where I was supposed to be. And I kept asking for something outside of myself to confirm the fact that I wasn't where I was supposed to be. So, also, there are signs maybe in your life that you're experiencing now, or maybe that you have experienced in the past, that might be pointing to you are just deeply denying the truth that lives inside of you. Some of us absolutely adore the jobs that we're at. Some of us absolutely adore the relationships that we're in. Some of us absolutely adore the cities that we live in and the people that we're surrounded by. But there are also some of us who are deeply unsatisfied with our relationships and our jobs and with where we live and what we're doing on a day-to-day basis. And those are the things to start to get really true and honest with yourself about. Understand your truth and stop negating it. And maybe it doesn't have to, this doesn't mean quit your job, break up with the person, or leave the town and city that you're in, but maybe it means just start to acknowledge what's actually happening inside and allow that to be a guiding post for what the next layers look like. And even if you're in a great place in your life, there might be little things where it's like, oh, I can shift this, or oh, I can do this a little bit differently, where there's maybe been a pull in your heart and soul to do something, but you've been like, oh, I can't do that. I'm not good enough for that. I'm not sure. Those are the things to start to listen to, and you don't need to make a change now, but just start listening to what's happening inside. So, obviously, in conversation with that, what are some of the things that cause people to negate the truth that's living within them?
I think one of the biggest thing that cause people to negate is something I think I mentioned earlier is like our childhood, the programming, they told us our lives should be, get education, go to school, get a job, get married. And if we're not happy in those things, then we start thinking that something is wrong with us. So it's really trusting that at this moment in our lives, our age, we are creating our reality. We are the gurus. Like we have to see all of those programming from our parents. They didn't try to hurt us. Just school. They teach us math, geography. They teach us. I remember all the classes. Like I didn't like it, and it takes so much space in ourselves to learn to memorize all the things that we don't even want to, we don't even like, to take a space for go within and bring that intuition, that inner guidance. So that is like really like the programming that and we need to see. That's the uncomfortable part, where we sit and we start like seeing that we were programmed. Like we need to let go of all of those things and go deeper and deeper and listen to that inner voice and trust in the little things, in the very little things. Like don't, like you say, that relationship that happened to me several times. Like I knew in the first few weeks it is not for me. Why do I keep going? Because I wanted to have a relationship, because I grew up, I'm going to have a relationship and get married or whatever, have a steady relationship. But that's not maybe my case. So because we're attached to what we think we should have, and then that inner voice, we hear it, we feel it, and we just push it and say, no, I'm going to stay in this relationship once when we know that it's not for us. And that happens many things, not just relationships.
It makes me think too that a lot of the times we also fear being judged or misinterpreted or ridiculed in some way. So maybe and this could be a significant example, but this is also like a relevant example to me. Maybe we are in the hospitality industry and our family loves that we have a career and a path and all of the things, and our friends and our networks are all related to this. But then there happens to be something inside of us like, oh, I want to go to circus school. I want to become an aerialist. I want to do aerial silks, specifically me, Kira, which I don't want to do it as like a life path. But what if that was what was happening inside of me, right? And there was the fear of judgment or ridicule for leaving the strong career with the benefits and all of the things to follow and pursue that path. And again, it doesn't mean immediately changing my life, but maybe it means okay, one, I might have a fear of being judged by others. That is real. I also might have a tendency of being a people pleaser. That is real. So, what do I do for me? Maybe it means just signing up for one class once a month to start exploring a fun new avenue that there's something inside of me that is pulled towards. So, obviously we can catastrophize the things that we're going through and these internal pulls that we have, but if we can get a little bit more grounded, we can see that sometimes it just takes a little bit of a baby step to get to where we want to go. So, um, go ahead, Tatiana.
I wanted to because now yeah, you talk about let's for example, I had years ago I work in a hotel and I have a coworker. She was such a sweet girl. She was so intuitive and she will like feel everything that it was feeling. It was very empathic. And she went to school many many years and she earned a lot of money from loans, school loans, and she wanted to drop everything. I was like, I did all of this. She was afraid to give up and she was afraid to say I'm a loser, like I did all of this because they told me if I go to school and I put all of this money there, I'm going to be happy, and I don't want to quit this job because I'm afraid to being seen as a loser and I'm giving up. And she had, I can see so many talents that she had, she want to create things, and and it's just sometimes it's sad because you're like in this little cage, and we have so much potential. But little by little, like you, Kira, say, like baby steps, we are like seeing our power and how we are connected with something greater. And we're taking baby steps to make a change.
So how would you, if there's someone on their journey right now, and maybe there's an internal pull inside of them, but it's different than what others in their lives would expect from them or want from them, what's some simple advice that you would give them to start navigating and trusting themselves and their path a little bit more?
Um, so, for example, if they're feeling the pull to change a career, like you say, take a class, take a class in this other thing. Like if you want to, you feel like you're a psyche, take a class of psyche because there's schools for psyche abilities to develop your psychic abilities. Take a class. If you feel you want to be a dancer, go and take a belly dance class or something, other class. Start little, like start taking actions. There's the things you feel the call. If you want to be a speaker, make a video or something and post it in your social media, create a YouTube channel. So little steps to see you're going to start feeling that when you're in the right path, you're going to receive the guidance that you need to. And you're going to face fear too because of all the voices and programming, but take baby steps.
And can you take us through a quick little exercise to help us start connecting with that inner wisdom?
Yes. All right. We have a few minutes. Whenever you are, let's just do a short meditation so you can close your eyes. And first, connect with your breath. Inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth. Feeling how in every inhalation you bring new life to your body. And every exhalation you let go and relax a little more in this present moment. And then just feel whatever you're sitting, feel the roots of your feet going down, down to the earth, getting grounded in this earth, in this present moment. When you feel that you're there, you're present in your body with your breath and grounded, bring your awareness to your heart space, trusting the guidance of your heart, feeling the energy of your heart expanding, all the electricity that your heart is producing just feel like traveling through your body and throughout your body. Being present in your heart, bring your attention to your crown chakra that is located in the top of your head. And imagine a flower that opens up the petals. Open up the petals, and this light start pouring down to your entire body through the top of your head. Allow the guidance that is coming through there to you. It may be your higher self. It may be a spiritual guide or an ancestor welcoming into this moment and into your life. And now take another deep breath. Inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth. Releasing any part of you that is not trusting to the process. I'm opening up to new experiences and to those little miracles that are present in your daily life. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes.
So beautiful. Wow. Drop 555 in the chat if you feel at the very least a little bit more grounded, a little bit more present, a little bit more centered, a little bit more able to realize that you are the center of your world. And do you have any final takeaways, Tatiana, for those who are here listening who just did that meditation and maybe received a little glimpse of wisdom?
Yeah, what I want to share is just take this meditation, although this meditation was really short, but it was already a little seed of that, of trusting those little miracles. Be aware of those little miracles that happen every moment of your life to all of us, and nurture yourself with that energy. So there's every day is more and more and more guidance for you.
Building the muscle of inner wisdom. Oh my gosh, look at all the hearts in the chat. Ah, so many hearts all over the screen. It's so beautiful. Building the muscle of inner wisdom comes from trusting the little teeny tiny moments. So if you feel like you want to wear the red shoes, but you already have the black shoes on, put the red shoes on. And then tomorrow, you might be walking out the door and driving, and you may take a right turn instead of the left turn that you take. And maybe you'll come across a beautiful rainbow. And then the next day, maybe, it'll get stronger and stronger. And that inner wisdom will start guiding you for the larger, more significant things in your life. But just trust those little teeny tiny seeds, and especially the one that Tatiana just helped plant inside of you. So, Tatiana is one of our guides. She can support you on your journey towards spiritual growth and helping you understand where you're going on your path and how to listen, how to trust, and maybe to start pull away some of the layers of people pleasing and judgment and conditioning that we've placed on ourselves. So I just dropped Tatiana's profile in the chat for you one last time. If you'd like to schedule a call with her, you're more than welcome to. Her and I are actually doing the last Motivational Monday of the month together as well. So you'll have her twice this month. Next week, we're going to talk about how to win in life with spirituality, specifically with Erin, our guide. And outside of that, there's a survey that pops up here at the end. If you'd like to leave any love letters or feedback or just tell us how great this session was, we would love to hear it. Thank you all so much for joining us. We hope that you have the most amazing week and that your Monday just gets better from here. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.